Today I'm going to talk about evolution of the concept of Chinese nation. Ever since the collapse of the last Qing dynasty, the new Republican government had to deal with the nature of the multi-ethnic society that it inherited. So it came up with the idea that the Chinese nation is comprised of 5 nationalities: the Han, the Manchu, the Mongol, the Tibetan, and the Muslims. And ever since that time, basically these 5 nationalities have the concept of Chinese nation is comprised of 5 nationalities had carried on for quite a few decades. However, after the founding of the People's Republic of China, the new government came out with the idea that the Chinese nation is comprised of 56 ethnic groups. So basically, since the 1950s, you had a series of projects had to be carried out to identify and categorize different ethnic groups and then the composition. So today, we can think of the official Chinese discourse always emphasize that the Chinese nation is comprised of 56 ethnic groups, and then this is basically the Chinese ethnic minority autonomous model has been based on. On the other hand, there's different kind of conceptions of Chinese nation that also includes, let's say, many of the overseas Chinese communities throughout Southeast Asia, as well in North America, perhaps in Europe. On the other hand, there are lots of contentions in terms of who does belong and who does not belong. For example, these days you have lots of contentions between the Taiwanese nationalist groups and then their conceptions of the Chinese nation that do not necessarily, for example, include the Taiwanese into it. On the other hand, the mainland Chinese version of Chinese nation obviously will include Taiwan in the composition. These days, the Chinese state have been emphasizing on its connection between itself and the overseas Chinese community. Recent days, you have proposals try to issue a new type of visa arrangement that only applies to overseas Chinese communities who want to move back to China to work or to live. So this is essentially a new wave that the Chinese state tried to reconnect with overseas Chinese community and in some ways redefine what constitutes the Chinese nation.